Hi everyone, my name is India Lampkin, and today I'm presenting From Prosecution to Perseverance, a living history project highlighting the very first building here at Prairie View A&M University, which is Kirby Hall. Kirby Hall is more than just a structure. It carries deep historical layers, filled with stories of struggle, transition, education, and purpose. The building stands on a land that once belonged to the Alta Vista plantation. And yet, through the courage, vision, and determination, it eventually became the foundation of Black higher education in Texas. Before I go any deeper, I want to say something very important. This building holds purpose that still speaks to us today. Because when we study the history, we look at how this land transformed from a plantation to a home, to a school for Black young girls, to a college for Black youth seeking opportunity. We realized something powerful. There was a calling placed on this land before any of us were here. Long before Prairie View was a university, this land was already meant to educate, uplift, and inspire students. And that calling continues today with all of us who walk across this campus. Let's begin with the earliest stages of Kirby Hall's story. 1865, the home of Colonel Jared Ellison Kirby and Helen Kirby. This was home to the Kirby family that once sat on the Alta Vista plantation. Shortly after the Civil War ended, Colonel Gerald Ellison Kirby passed away and left the land to his wife, Helen Kirby. Even though the war had ended, the lives of formerly enslaved Black people were still filled with uncertainty and hardship. And yet, right here on this very land, a seed of education was already being planted, even if no one fully realized it yet. Helen Kirby's School for Colored Girls, 1867. After Colonel Kirby passed away, Helen Kirby made a bold and meaningful decision. She turned her home into an all-girls boarding school for colored girls. Established in 1867 through 1875. This is extremely significant. Think about it. This moment in history. The Civil War had ended only 2 years earlier. Black people were still fighting for citizenship and basic rights. Education for Black girls, especially boarding school, was rare. And yet, right here on this very land, Helen Kirby created a place where young Black girls could learn, grow, and imagine futures that society told them they could never have. This moment showed us something powerful. Even then, this land was already being used for learning way before Prairie View A&M University even existed. The calling was already here. 1876, Helen Kirby faced financial struggles, forcing her to move the all-girls boarding school to Austin, Texas. As a result, she sold the Alta Vista land, including Kirby Hall, to the state of Texas. This happened at the exact moment Texas began to create a new public system for higher education. And so The 15th Texas Legislature established a new institution, the Alta Vista Architectural and Mechanical College of Texas for Colored Youth, founded in 1876. This is why Prairie View A&M University says founded in 1876. It was the foundation to greatness. This was the birth of what would eventually become Prairie View A&M University. The plantation land had now officially been transformed into a place of learning, and that was calling was becoming clearer and stronger. Let's move forward 2 years to the year 1878. In 1878, something historic happened. The first official groups of students enrolled into the Prairie View Architecture and Mechanical Training School, who are famously known as the Unknown Eight or the Great Eight. These were the pioneers, the very first students to accept the challenge, to take on the responsibility, and to trust that this school, still new, still developing, would give them a fair chance at a better life. Without the Unknown Eight, Prairie View would not be what it is today. Unfortunately, there's not much that we know about the Great Eight or the Unknown Eight. Their story is still a mystery. It is believed by some that the history and the documentation of the Unknown Eight may possibly have been destroyed in some of the fires that took place at the university around the year 1940. It's still not confirmed. There are people out there who claim they have information on the Unknown Eight, but none of that information has yet been confirmed or verified. The growth continues. In the year 1879, the very next year, enrollment doubled. 16 students came to join the mission. This may seem like a small number today, but at the time, this was a major step. It showed that Black families believed in this school, trusted its purpose, and saw hope in what was being built here. This took strength and courage to step out on faith, all with the hopes of bettering themselves and increasing their knowledge. This is truly a remarkable act. Fast forward to the year 1890, the Second Morrill Act and land expansion. By 1890, southern states, including Texas, were having a hard time complying with federal requirements for non-discriminatory admissions. This led to the passing of the Second Morrill Act, which required states to either integrate or create separate institutions for Black students. Texas chose to support Prairie View. As a result, Prairie View Architecture and Mechanical Training School was granted over 1,300 acres of land, along with Kirby Hall, of course. Think about that number. 1,300 plus acres of land, a massive gift of land dedicated to educating the Black youth. A plantation that had become a college, a place of labor had become a place of learning, A place once defined by oppression had been transformed into a place of opportunity and purpose. And all of it began with the building we all know as Kirby Hall. When we take all this information and look at the facts, we see a stunning transformation. A plantation becomes a home. A plantation becomes a school for Black colored girls. A school becomes a state institution. A state institution becomes Prairie View A&M University. And Prairie View becomes a place that shapes generations. And it is still shaping generations to come. This history teaches us something important. We glory in our suffering because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. This message echoes in every classroom, every dorm room, and every field, especially on the stage that every graduate walks across. Being here, being educated is not just a privilege, it's a blessing. A blessing built on resilience for those who came before us. We stand on ground that carries pain, but also purpose. We learn on the land that once held chains, but now holds dreams, purpose, and a future. We study in the shadows of a building that taught us the very first Black young men and women who dared to bet on themselves and believe in a better future. Kirby Hall is a legacy that still stands in all of us. As I close, I want to highlight the key points that were explored today. Kirby Hall began as the 1865 home of Colonel Gerald Ellison Kirby and Helen Kirby. From 1867 to 1875, it became an all-girls boarding school for colored girls, showing the calling that was placed on this land way before Prairie View existed. In 1876, financial hardship led to Helen Kirby selling the land to the state of Texas, which Texas used it to create a home for education of the Black youth. In 1878, the first students, known as the Great Eight or the Unknown Eight, enrolled here, followed by 16 more students the following year. And in 1890, the Second Morrill Act brought over 1,300 acres of land. Those acres of land would support what eventually became Prairie View A&M University. This journey from prosecution to perseverance shows how far we have came and how strong the purpose of this land has always been. As students today, receiving an education is a privilege that many before us fought desperately to have. And we honor them not only by remembering their stories, but continuing their work. Before I end, I want to give you all a preview of what's coming next. In the next episode, I will be interviewing a special guest, someone who is deeply knowledgeable about this university and has a deeper understanding of Kirby Hall. It's a story that goes deep and goes deeper on a personal level. Together, we'll explore new details, lost memories, and lasting spiritual impacts of this historical site. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for learning. And thank you for helping me carry on the legacy of PVAMU's Kirby Hall. Thank you.